Our next type of argument that we're going to be taking a look at is the Rogerian argument. And again, with any of my lectures, you could just scan the QR code and that will give you access to this presentation. The Rogerian is best for highly contentious topics, highly debated, controversial, where opposing sides struggle to find agreement. Your ultimate goal? Find that common ground. When it comes to the Rogerian argument, this is a method of argumentation that focuses on understanding opposing viewpoints. And you want to do that before necessarily preventing your own. The idea is to try and find a compromise. You want to find some common ground here. To do this, you want to share the complexity of the problem. You want to address opposing viewpoints. You want to find common ground. You want to assert your argument. And lastly, you want to conclude with a suggestion or resolution that is kind of balanced. When you think about our thesis for this, our thesis is as follows. While some believe this, others argue this. A balanced approach would be a compromise, or maybe you have a best solution that exists and you're proving it, as it addresses a common ground between these sides. An example of what this thesis could look like here, if my topic were should colleges eliminate standardized testing and admissions, the thesis example could look like this. While standardized tests perform a uniform measure of academic ability, they also disadvantage students from underprivileged backgrounds. A balanced approach would be to make a standardized test optional, allowing students to showcase their strengths in multiple ways. My recommended outline that comes with this is pretty consistent across most of our introductions, if you will. And that is the introduction will have a hook. It will have background as to why this issue is debated. The reason that this is going to be slightly different than other argumentative introductions is because you're going to explain the background of the debate itself. Rather than just the background of the particular issue, but your issue is kind of the debate. As always, please don't forget to put in your stimulus materials here, meaning that you want to put in your thematic link and then you want to put your question of inquiry, because if you don't, you could potentially score a 0 on the essay. And then we throw our thesis statement at the very end. When it comes to presenting opposing viewpoints, you always want to start with the opposing viewpoint. The reason that we do this is because we want to present our argument last. We want to show and kind of hammer home and have in our readers' minds our argument is the last thing that they read. So when we start with presenting this opposing viewpoint, you summarize the opposing argument objectively. Key word here, objectively. It is hard sometimes to look at something and not have bias, right? We want to be objective. We want to look at facts. We want to look at statistics, and then we want to reason what those facts, statistics are and what they do. You're going to acknowledge the strengths. You're going to acknowledge that people really believe that this is a good solution, right? That's what the opposing argument is. Now, your goal next is to find some common ground. So in your common ground, you're going to identify shared beliefs or concerns. You're going to emphasize areas where you believe that both sides can agree. So think about the reasoning as to why you would need a solution in the first place. Think about the reason as to why this opposing viewpoint people really might like, right? Then you go and you present your argument. This is where you show how your viewpoint aligns with the common ground, right? We're still solving the same problem, the same issue that exists. And then you provide your evidence to support your perspective. And this better be some strong evidence, right? Because you're showing that this argument might be something that could be more reasonable as a compromise, or it could be that you have just found a common ground, right? Changing one solution, changing the other solution, and then finding the common ground that exists between those. You want to frame your argument as reasonable as possible, which means objective. You want to stay objective when you look at the facts themselves, and then after you have the facts and the objectivity down, then you get subjective. Then you say this is the common ground because then you have that reasoning in there. And lastly, we'll always end up with our conclusion here, reinforce your positions as maybe like the best middle ground solution, and then suggest a way forward that incorporates both viewpoints. Maybe create a brand new solution or a brand new viewpoint based on the information that you have covered and found. Maybe you combine different viewpoints together and realize, dang, this could be something that's really cool. What you're going to be noticing that's missing from this is a specific counter argument, counter perspective, or rebuttal. And that's because naturally, when it comes into a Rogerian argument, you are going to be really focusing on both sides. So you already naturally have that counter argument within your essay. Now, there is a pretty good essay that was actually just released from last year, a Rogerian essay. And so this is a pretty good sample if you want to take a look at that. Again, this is going to be an AP seminar release paper, meaning that it has scoring notes attached to it as well. So if you find something interesting, you see something successful, steal it for yourself. Copy that same format and apply your own information to that format. See what works, adapt, and change as you need to. That is our Rogerian argument.